Andrew Tate, the man, the myth, the legend. Okay, somehow, some way, we live in a world where Andrew Tate has been flown out of Romania, where he was supposed to stand trial for his many transgressions, open transgressions. But the Trump administration has coordinated, basically leveraged, and kind of lobbied for Andrew Tate to be released from his captivity in Romania, to be allowed to board a plane and go into the United States of America, where he landed in Florida. Specifically, he spent his time in Miami. And while what followed is very chaotic, the one thing that we can confirm for certain is that this is, in a lot of ways, proving to be a lawless land for those with influence, power, money, and the right politics somehow. You seem to be able to get away with quite a bit. There's quite a bit of corruption afoot, we could say. There's CoffeeZilla, who identified some pretty funny information, I guess, about Tristan Tate. There is Donald Trump himself being asked about the Tate brothers. There's much to get into, but we're going to start here with looking at this post, okay? This was the initial kind of jolt of information that the Tate brothers, oh my God, we're seen leaving. Breaking news. The Tates have left Romania. In a stunning display of high-level political corruption, Romania caved to U.S. pressures and granted the Tate brothers travel privileges, allowing them to travel to the USA. Here's Tristan Tate boarding a flight sponsored by Steak. A little bit sus, no? Well, anyway, we also have the Trump administration is pressuring Romania to relax the Tate brothers' travel restrictions, pressuring a foreign government to interfere in an independent judicial process for political or personal favors constitutes corruption. Of course, for those who unfortunately know much of anything about politics, but also the way specifically that the Trump administration's been operating, they do not really respond to principles. They respond much greater to power and potential to increase power. And the Tate brothers, I can't fully understand, but it seems like they are viewed as valuable enough of an asset to some members, I guess, of the Trump administration, whether through, I guess, propaganda, because of course the Tates are, have been ardent supporters of Trump, but also there's very contradictory elements to that, which I'll get into. But point is, the brothers boarded their damn flights, came to America, and many conservatives, it was nice to see at least, many conservatives, people who endorsed and support Trump, also came out and condemned this. This guy saying, to hell with the Trump administration. Donald Trump's government is a corrupt collection that supports sex traffickers. I regret having voted for them. Yeah, and so this is, again, people discovering the reality with the Tate brothers, which is that they're completely amoral actors who completely act in their own self-interest. Hey, maybe they do share a lot with, members of the Trump administration. But point is, they are definitely a liability in a lot of ways. This could potentially backfire on the Trump presidency.
I built my business off the back of my dick. That's how I built it. That's how I got rich. So I became militant with the pimping. And my bottom bitch understood it, and she understood that perfectly. So that.
Let's talk about Vivian, which there's a lot to get into, specifically allegations that Vivian was 15 fucking years old when he basically groomed her into being a, webcam model eventually.
That is the recruitment structure, and that is extremely important. I hope you understand why you have to have sex with a girl, otherwise she is going to leave. What you don't want to do is get a bunch of girls, teach them how to make money from home, and then let them leave you and run off and make money for themselves. And then you check their Instagrams and they're having a great life and they're fucking rich and you have nothing. You don't want to do that. So you have to fuck the girl. If you're not fucking the girl, she is fucking someone else. And that other person she's fucking is going to have the control over her mind.
You don't need to hear too much more, okay? The playbook of the Tates, again, the Loverboy method, yeah, he is just boasting about it right here, right? This was his competitive advantage that he made the women that he was making work on webcam modeling. He made them fall in love with him. Why did he do this? Because he loved them. No, it was because he wanted to have complete control over them, to dominate them completely, to entirely mandate and dictate the way that they live their lives. And of course to exploit them in every way fucking possible. But anyway. Here we go. Andrew Tate landed on U.S. soil and immediately started lying to the media. His case was not dismissed. Both Tates are still under judicial control for that case and have been ordered to return to Romania by March 25th. You think the Tates are going to return to more? I don't think so.
We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood. There's a lot of opinions about us, a lot of things that go around about us on the internet. We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever. We have no criminal record anywhere on the planet ever. Our case was dismissed on the 19th of December in Romania under the Biden administration. And our prosecutor recently decided, because we have no active indictment in court, to let us go and return. This is a democratic society.
The case was not dismissed. That's a blatant lie, which they've repeated numerous times over the course of the past year.
It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, as my brother and I are. And I think it's extremely important that we stop allowing media spin, wrap-up smears, lies, or carefully constructed narratives from George Soros-funded operations trying to destroy the reputations of
the George Soros, I love it. Just the name drop.
good people who have no intention to do anything other than follow the law.
All right, you get the point, okay? Basically, this is pretty on brand for Tate. They just lie, deceive. They are literally engaging in information warfare, which basically means they are trying their hardest to obscure the truth in any way they possibly can. Now, there was some heat that developed from this, right? Because it's like, wait a minute, why the fuck is the Trump administration not just expending resources, but deciding it is worthwhile to take the Tates on as, I guess, an asset to bring them to America? These guys who are standing trial in a foreign country for their nefarious potential activities. Well, Trump was confronted about it directly, okay? Which is, again, a simulation-breaking moment. When I saw this, I was like, bro, anything is possible. In the world we live in today, anything's possible. You could not tell me something, and I would think it's just not possible at this point, bro. Aliens could land on Earth, and I would think, yeah, that tracks. But here we go.
President Trump, Andrew and Tristan Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them, and if so, why?
I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He's back. They already did.
Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
They did not let us know. I really, to be frank, I don't understand the full inner workings of why the fuck this was done, okay? If I had to guess, Trump probably does barely know what's going on. Maybe he does roughly understand these guys are supporters of mine who are experiencing legal problems, and having them in the USA will make them like the #1 Trump supporters of all fucking time. Maybe. But it's also possible that people who work within the Trump administration leveraged their connections to have this done. If we take a look here, there is some speculation, okay, by our boy Gadget, our #1 Tate correspondent, okay. Gadget, you can follow him right here for the breaking news on the Tates. Read the quoted tweet from Paul Ingrassia, White House liaison for the DOJ. This man is a full-blown Andrew Tate simp, fresh out of Hustlers University. This is one of the most embarrassing things ever posted by an adult, let alone a government official. Ingrassia must be removed from office immediately. The likes of him being in a position of power is why the White House has been embarrassed this week. And here's Paul Ingrassia in 2023. Andrew Tate is an extraordinary human being, not only in terms of sheer physical prowess, though he is that in spades, but perhaps even more impressively, he is sharp as a tack and has the willpower and spirit to match. Okay. Jesus, dude, this is a crazy glaze piece. This is absolute insanity. He's the embodiment of the ancient ideal of excellence, to seek perfection of mind, body, and... Okay, I can't handle it, dude. What the fuck? Wow. Damn. Really? It is for this reason that he and his brother have become public enemies #1 and 2 in the eyes of the Matrix, the deep state, and the satanic elite. Holy shit, and this guy works at the White House. Anyway, here he is. Whatever. Point is, I don't think this guy is the connection, for the record. It's just funny because now when the Tates talk about the Matrix, right? You have to keep in mind, like, this is just the case now. The Tates are within the Matrix. They are benefiting the beneficiaries of the dominant power faction in the USA right now, the Trump administration. So they are, basically they have been absorbed into the existing most prominent Matrix. So yeah, all that talk about, Romanian corruption and whatever the fuck, it's ringing pretty hollow right now. But before we continue, While you might not be able to kill an idea, you sure as hell can kill a person. Bad faith? Sounds kind of cool, to be honest. I think I'm gonna make that my first merch line.
It's been such a long time coming.
Oh, by the way, yeah, this is something worth mentioning, okay? When the Tates landed in Florida, a unexpected antagonist entered the picture in the form of Governor Ron DeSantis, okay? Ron DeSantis basically made a statement when he was confronted, unlike Trump, who basically was like, I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. Ron DeSantis took a stand against, as he put it, sex trafficking. He says, Florida does not welcome Andrew and Tristan Tate after they are flying back from Romania. No, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct. Our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking into what state hooks and jurisdictions we have to deal with this. I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media. Interesting.
We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. Okay, guys.
Right. So that was the initial statement. But here's what you need to understand. Okay, I've recently covered a counter lawsuit, basically, that has been filed by the alleged victim of the Tate brothers. There's multiple alleged victims, but one of them was actually an American. She resides in Florida, okay? And so there is an existing, basically, court case against the Tates existing in Florida. And my God, if that case isn't damning, it's got a lot of gross fucking things. We went and talked and explored about it in my previous videos. One of the big implications was Tristan Tate effectively coercing or grooming, or however you would like to frame it, but allegedly, basically, again, within the court documents, proving that Tristan Tate knowingly, after he basically had sex with a 16-year-old, and then upon finding out she was 16, instantly tried to coerce her into having anal sex. Very fucked up case, okay? You can go and watch that video. There's a lot to unpack from that, and we have unpacked it. But I do want to, if you would like to see just some more overt video of like what these guys are like, okay? I will provide you with a little taste of this because, yeah, I really do want to paint the picture accurately because, again, these guys engage in information warfare all the fucking time. They're constantly angling, lying, and poisoning the well to basically make you so confused that you kind of trust them because they sound authoritative.
How I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me. Because that's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. And that's how I got rich. So that teaches everything I know from start to finish about not only getting girls, not only obtaining them, but retaining them. I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense. Like, I was not trying to have sex with women. I was trying to get women to obey me. And I realized that's easier if they like to have sex with me. If they don't like having sex with me, it's pretty hard to make them listen to me.
Ain't that crazy? It's actually very funny, man. Wow. His primary concern, I mean, it's not actually that surprising. It's just funny to hear someone say it like this. He's basically like, I didn't even want to have sex with them. That was just the most efficient way to psychologically capture them and to exploit them for money on webcam. Very funny, very interesting, because for those who don't know, there are like messages of Tate referring to his women as assets, okay? Just overtly objectifying, whatever you would want to call it, but like, yes, he literally views them as fucking financial assets. So, you know, this is what it is. We can continue to watch this fucking compilation in a moment, but I do want to chime in and say after, basically, I'll, here, one sec, I'll find the thing I need to. One moment. Right, so, our boy DeSantis referred to our boy Attorney General James Uthmeyer, and he said, early this morning, I directed my office to work with our state law enforcement partners to conduct a preliminary inquiry into these individuals. Florida has zero tolerance for human trafficking and violence against women. If any of these alleged crimes trigger Florida jurisdiction, we will hold them accountable. Right, and again, there was an active court case against the Tates in Florida. And so, what did that result in? Well, our boy, the Tates, basically, guess what? They ended up going back to Romania. They flew all the way back and are now standing trial in Romania once again. I'm kidding. The Tates fled Florida and traveled to Vegas, okay? Las Vegas, the city of sin. And guess what? Our boy Tate, who obviously, you know, is apparently he converted to Islam. He's, on paper, supposed to be a relatively devout Muslim. Well, he was spotted in Las Vegas gambling during Ramadan, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that you are not supposed to gamble at any point. It doesn't matter that it's just Ramadan. But he's also, it seems like, drinking a fucking beer. He is basically, it seems like, relishing in all the vices you could have fucking imagined in Vegas. And going on a little bit of a spree. Nothing is worse than mocking God and religions. When you use them for profit, that's selling your soul. This person agrees. Murdered by crayons. Is he drinking a Bud Light too? Looks like it. Yeah. And for those who also don't know, a friend of the channel, Sneako, it's a joke, but Sneako has recently kind of called out Tate, because Tate has been very much so on this like anti-immigrant wave. He's been, anytime there's any kind of terror attack or anything like that, Tate has been very much, you know, angling and talking about basically, you know, Muslims committing these attacks. And there's been a few cases where Tate accused basically Muslims of committing terror attacks in Europe, and they actually weren't Muslims. They were like, there was one known case where it was a Christian that Tate fucked up that information. I can pull up the Sneako fucking video, whatever. Fucker still has me blocked, but I guess now you can still watch shit. On X, let's see, what was it? I don't really remember what the fuck it was called. Shit. What was it called? Was it this one? Fuck's sake.
Is impossible to and
in Germany can't band together to fight against it because that's
right.
Islamic Muslim. There aren't any, but you would think through the sea of propaganda about what Muslims do today, and in the words of Alex Jones, the Islamic takeover of the West, that there would be Muslims involved in the biggest uncovered blackmail operation ever. But no, even with the former most Googled man in the world, Andrew Tate, who continues to blame terrorist attacks on Muslims.
Guess what I saw in the car on the way here? A terror attack in Germany. A Muslim ran over a bunch of white people in Germany this morning. But the white people in Germany can't band together to fight against it because then they are what?
3 times now where it turns out they weren't even Muslim at all. The Pakistani invader was a Christian born in the UK. The Christmas jihadist hacker hated Muslims and even replied to my tweets saying that. And the German guy from the other day that Tate mentioned on the PBD podcast, that guy was a Christian. Happy Lent, by the way, to all the Christians. And
yeah, so that's to give you the general sentiment that, like, yeah, I mean, Tate is basically severing his... And he's just being very aggressively overt about disrespecting, almost overtly, it seems like, the religion of Islam, right? He's revealing the facade that it was an opportunistic attempt to gain popular support among a demographic who would basically be okay with his other fucking bigoted, well, I should say, a demographic who would be more predisposed to, you know, accepting some of his other takes. But yes, the big thing that I would say about Tate is that at the end of the day, this guy, once again, is a self-serving actor, okay? He is not anybody who has any real allegiance to anyone that it is not of an overt advantage to him to have allegiance toward, okay? But anyway, here the Tate saying, thank you, Florida. You were very welcoming. See you in a few years. Now, you may have noticed, okay, if you have a keen eye, that that the Tates were hanging out with what looked like the Nelk boys at that casino in Vegas. Well, yeah, I mean, he went on Full Send podcast, and guess what? The first thing he fucking started talking about was Andrew Tate on America not having free speech. Basically, Tate's big thing that he's been angling has been basically, yeah, just talking about Jews, okay? And you need to keep in mind, okay? Guys like Tate, a lot of these fuckers, especially these red pill guys, they talk, when they criticize Israel, okay, they are absolutely conflating it with Jews. These guys are anti-Semitic. Tate obviously is on fucking record. It's not just doing, you know, what's the word? Hitler salute? Whatever the fuck, Nazi salute. He is pretty overt about, you know, his opinion on Jewish activity, okay? He doesn't specify that he criticizes, you know, Israel. He doesn't make that distinction, but let's let him say, I guess, whatever the fuck he garbage is about to say, just on Full Send podcast. Who gives a shit?
Actually, interesting. So let's analyze this. Free speech. This is an interesting conversation because America believes that as free speech. It doesn't. But every single country in the world has things you cannot talk about. Every single country in the world has off-limit topics. In Russia, it's Putin. In the Middle East, it's Islam. In Turkey, it's Erdogan. If you talk against them, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. Do you know what the American one is?
What, speaking out against the Dems?
Speaking out against the Jews. If you speak out against the Jews in America, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. So every single country has their off-limit topics. So there's no such thing as free speech anywhere. But that is different than having an ideological alignment. My point I was making between Russia and America is that they are nationalistic patriarchies. Truth.
Right. Anyway, let's be clear, okay? You need to keep this in mind. Tate is absolutely a conscious political actor, okay? He, now especially, right? Like, yeah, he's probably been bolstered by a lot of, you know, this effective co-signing by the Trump administration. But, yeah, I mean, he has been very much so trying to impose or promote this kind of strange ideology that he has, which is basically, yeah, I mean, effectively, what did he just call it? A monarchic? Is that what he did?
This is actually interesting. In their hearts and in their governments. Whereas Europe are none of those things. America is that they are nationalistic patriarchies.
Right, nationalistic patriarchies. As he sits in America and talks about the Jews, Tate is a total moron. Yeah, agreed. Bro, this guy, what the fuck? This guy's talking about his tits. Anyway, crazy. Anyway, it's very fucking annoying, and I will get into it. I'll show you actually a little sneak fucking peek, but Candace Owens has also lined up basically to, you know, support, not just support Tate, but like fucking overtly champion Tate, okay? And she and Tate have leaned super heavily on the I was persecuted because I criticized Israel, which is a complete fucking fabrication. These guys were being persecuted. These guys were being held accountable for their fucking actual actions. Well before October 7th, which is their claim now that, oh, they spoke out after October 7th, so now they're literal fucking victim complex having degenerates. I mean, come on, man. This is, I feel like this is pretty overtly fucking pathetic, but yeah.
Arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news, tell everyone I'm a human trafficker. You think I'm not versed? You think I'm not ready? I'm a Navy SEAL in this shit. Fucking come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a full phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me, let's do this all over again. I've done it before. Come get me.
Damn. Okay, that's pretty crazy. Well, yeah, I want to find this clip of Candace Owens. Fuck. Oh God. Okay. Jesus Christ. Fuck. All right, take my word for it. There's a clip of fucking Candace Owens basically angling as though Tate is being persecuted because he spoke out against Israel, which is so dishonest. It's fucking sickening the way that they're co-opting. Oh God. Yeah, this is the thing, man. Oh God. The anti-Semitism, the unironic anti-Semitism that's coming from the right, okay? is extremely fucking opportunistic and severe. Brutal, okay? And, oh, sorry, for those who don't know anything fucking about me, I am also critical of the Israeli regime, all right? It's fucking important to separate it from, Jewish people as a whole, of course, right? And these guys do not give a fuck about keeping that separation because they're opportunists. Again, it's self-serving to them. Yeah. Anyway, Christ. Here's some speculation as to why Tate and how basically what ended up happening, that they ended up actually basically being fucking given a get a jail free card. There's no legal justification, no transparency, no court hearing, no public statement for prosecutors, no legal reasoning for their release. This was not due process. If there was a legitimate legal decision, it would have involved public records. A complete betrayal of justice. The Tate brothers face human trafficking charges, including alleged exploiting of minors. The UK was also seeking their extradition on rape and human trafficking charges. Romania's credibility is in tatters. Romania's judicial independence is now in question. How can it claim to uphold the rule of law after silently letting 2 high-profile trafficking suspects walk free? Trump's power play. The Tates' release comes immediately after pressure from Richard Grenell. The Tates have been valuable to Trump, influencing young right-wing men and pushing his anti-woke culture war narrative. Trump didn't care about Romania's legal system. He wanted a quick win with his base, showing he could protect his own no matter the charges. This wasn't about justice, it was about power and influence. The pressure campaign, how the U.S. likely forced Romania's hand. Romania didn't just cave on its own. The U.S. likely applied pressure using multiple levels of influence. Yeah, military security, as well as, reduced military support, economic and trade pressure, diplomatic leverage, that's probably the biggest one. Political influence over Romanian leadership, that's another big one. Anyway, UK extradition's in jeopardy. Yeah, no kidding, dude. Will the U.S. even consider handing them over? Yeah, I doubt it. Unless people make enough noise, and then maybe, but I doubt it. Will the EU respond? Romania just publicly embarrassed itself. Will Brussels take action against political interference? Yeah, at the end of the day, fuck, man. Yeah, I guess we'll see, but I'm kind of black-pilled.